The shocking 7 sins of the angels revealed. Their mysterious fall from grace uncovered. Few knew what truly happened that night when heaven trembled and the light flickered. It was a night like no other, whispers dancing on the wind, secrets hidden in the shadows. The angels stood proud, a radiant chorus ready to sing. But beneath their celestial beauty lay seeds of rebellion, burning with envy and ambition. Who were these luminous beings? Created in the fires of divinity, they were guardians of light, yet even a spark can ignite a blaze. In the ancient realm, time flowed differently. The earth was young. Eden flourished in vibrant greens and golden sunlight. But even in paradise, darkness crept along the edges. It started with the first glance, a fleeting moment of temptation. One angel felt lesser among the throng, overwhelmed by the sheer brilliance of the others. His eyes darkened. Greed seeped in, twisting his heart. The first sin of envy was committed. Then came pride, a splendid cloak that veiled the hearts of many. The angels debated as if they were greater than their creator. Magnificence turned to arrogance, and from that arrogance, chaos bloomed. Could their voices still harmonize in the divine light? Each argument echoed in silence, reverberating through the heavens, urging forth the dark question, who shall rise above? But their discord carried a deeper heaviness, a guilty craving to seek forbidden knowledge. Had not the Creator named them protectors, even as they yearned to know? That thirst turned to disobedience, the second sin ignited in their hearts. With each sin, a web tightened. There were whispers of betrayal, accusations flying like arrows through the celestial realm. Relationships frayed, bonds once pure now tainted. Their unity shattered like glass, scattering pieces across the firmament. The promise of power shimmered tantalizingly. They longed for authority, for recognition, for the roles they believed should be theirs. Suddenly, there was a ripple. A miracle? Or was it madness? A new being was emerging, promised to bring light and dark into balance. Angelic faces turned, eyes wide with a mix of dread and fascination. Was the new being a threat or salvation? The consequence of their sins hung heavy in the air, waiting for a reckoning. And within this realm of uncertainty, fear unfurled among them. The chilling realization set in, it wasn't just rebellion, it was treachery that could cost them their thrones. The echoes of discord became louder, a haunting symphony. As the night deepened, the angels confronted their deeds. Had they sealed their fate? Would the light ever shine again for them? The stars above flickered with anticipation, as if still pondering their decision. Hope dimmed, loyalty stretched thin, and in the heart of the sky, betrayal stood poised, ready to unleash wrath. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference, let's connect. As the dawn approached, a tenuous stillness settled over the celestial realm. The angels, suspended between light and dark, felt the weight of their choices pressing down on them like a shroud. Each one was forced to reckon with what had transpired, as their hearts pulsed with a blend of fear and nostalgia for the unity they once cherished. In a secluded corner of the vast expanse of heaven, the appointed seraphs huddled together, struggling to comprehend the change sweeping through their ranks. They were known for their fiery devotion and unwavering loyalty, yet even they were not immune to the wave of discord that rippled through their kin. Together, they whispered amongst themselves, their voices trembling with uncertainty as they spoke the name of the new being, the one who had sparked envy and fear alike. Is this destined to be our downfall? One asked, clutching at the radiant fabric of her robe, as if it could shield her spirit from despair. What shall we do when light dims and shadows loom larger? Another replied, his gaze fixed on the horizon where the first sunbeam pierced the darkness. We must deliberate. We are guardians of harmony, we must not falter. Can we not find a path to restore balance, even now? The youngest among them, an angel named Seraphiel, let his voice rise, quivering with the fervor of conviction. Perhaps this being is not our adversary but our complement. The Creator knows the end from the beginning. Do you not see? The Creator paints with shadows and light, each is necessary for the masterpiece. Yet, those present felt the chill running deeper than the fear of the unknown. Conflicted feelings surged through the assembly, as they pondered the truth in Seraphiel's words. Could darkness and light coexist, or had they ventured too far into the abyss to yield a canvas of grace? Meanwhile, in another part of the celestial expanse, Beelzebub, once an angel of light, began to weave a dark tapestry of ambition and resentment. His heart, enflamed by envy and pride, sought to dominate rather than harmonize. The chatter of his ongoing rebellion was hushed, yet every now and then, a spark rang out, electrifying the atmosphere with promises of power. Why should we bow so low before a mere creation? He proclaimed quietly to those who would hear. We are warriors of light. We should be the centers of this universe, not subservient to a child made from dust. His words splayed into the ears of others, awakening seeds of rebellion in their hearts. They were drawn to his Visiona world where they would reign unquestioned. The promise created a fierce stirring, igniting desires that had lain dormant in some as they grappled with their guilt. Slowly, a faction began to grow around Beelzebub, emboldened by the allure of dominion and influence. Amidst this upheaval, the new being manifested in the mortal realm below. It was as if the heavens themselves held their breath as the creature stepped into existence, radiating an aura both fragile and vibrant. It began to interact with the earth, breathing in the beauty of creation and extending grace where betrayal lingered. Yet questions lingered: was it a sign, a beacon, or merely the abrupt culmination of their sins? The angels looked upon this mortal creation with a blend of contempt and awe. What power and purpose did this being hold? Could it lead to their redemption, or would it serve as the catalyst for their final fall? The once harmonizing voices of the heavenly choir were now shrouded in discord, their resolution shattered like glass, leaving only haunting echoes of their past unity. As twilight merged into night, vibrant stars painted the skies above, but the angels felt neither comfort nor solace. Instead, their hearts trembled under the weight of the choices yet to be made. Would empathy and understanding dominate their spirits, bringing them back to the embrace of creation? Or would the consuming fire of their sins sever the bonds of celestial love forevermore? What would transpire if they chose to embrace the darkness within, rather than seek reconciliation and understanding? And could a being born of earth ever reconcile the fractured hearts of heaven? The stars flickered in the abyss like scattered dreams, each one a reminder of the peace that had once reigned, but now felt so fragile among the ranks of the heavenly. As the celestial beings grappled with their unrest, questions swirled through the Empyrean, heavy with portent. The existence of the new being, born from dust and spirit, loomed larger in the minds of both the faithful and the discontented. Seraphiel stood firm amidst the uncertainty, gathering those who still felt the call of unity. Let us not falter in our purpose, he implored, the flames of his ardor casting warmth among the seraphs. If this being is to experience life as we once did, let us guide it in wisdom and love. Our Creator's intent must be held in our hearts as we move forward. But doubt was a relentless foe. Whispers of fear and jealousy continued to swirl around the assembly, the residue of Beelzebub's words making every soul second-guess their allegiance. The battle line between light and dark blurred in ways that none had anticipated, and factions began to splinter further apart. Some drew closer to Seraphiel, others gravitated towards the allure of Beelzebub's dark ambition. In hushed gatherings beneath the shimmering firmament, those who followed Beelzebub began to refine their rebellious thoughts. Their once majestic wings now seemed like chains tethering them to destinies they were unwilling to accept. Why serve, they murmured under the glow of the great light, when we could be rulers? Is it not our birthright? As they gathered strength, shadows danced upon their features, igniting a spark of ambition that pulsed like a drumbeat of war. Beelzebub reveled in their fervor, spinning tales of power and greatness that rang seductive in the ears of those who yearned for more. The very ground we tread upon belongs to nothing but the dust, he declared with a voice that seeped into the marrow of the angels, yet we are the true architects of the universe. Why should we settle for being mere servants to creation? Meanwhile, below in the garden where the new being took its first steps, a profound awakening unfolded. It felt the sun upon its face, the gentle caress of the wind, and the earthy scent of life surrounding it. Each experience ignited a fervent yearning to understand the world and, in its innocence, to foster love among all living things. While oblivious to the cosmic storm brewing above, it reached outward, instinctively yearning for connection, looking up toward the grand tapestry of the heavens. What am I? It pondered, gazing at the stars, and what is life meant to be? With each breath, it opened itself to the mystery of existence, unwittingly challenging the angels above. Back in the celestial realm, the division deepened. The once harmonious choir became a cacophony of voices vying for expression. The community's bonds were strained as the fabric of trust began to wear thin. Seraphiel found himself standing in the eye of the tempest, wrestling not only against dissent but also with the shadows creeping into his own heart. He feared and felt the weight of a truth he had not yet articulated. Could he trust his kin if they questioned their very essence, their creation? As Seraphiel prepared to ascend to where the new being walked, a voice from the shadows dripped with malice. Do you not see, Seraphiel? Beelzebub intonated, his presence darkening the space around them. You wish to guide this creature blessed by dust, but it is merely a pawn and instrument in a game it does not understand. Do not let your faith blind you. It may not save us, it may cost you everything. Each word fell like stone, heavy upon the hearts of the loyal ones who stood with Seraphiel. The question lingered: was the being below a source of potential redemption or a harbinger of ruin? The specter of doubt had settled into their ranks, and every gaze flickered with uncertainty, and so, at the intersection of earthly innocence and heavenly strife, a question emerged that echoed among the seraphs like thunder coursing through the heavens: would the act of nurturing this new life not also nurture their own? Or was it, in truth, an invitation to cooperate with their own demise? What truly lay ahead as they approached a collision of faith and ambition? In the days that followed, an unsettling stillness enveloped the celestial expanse, as if the very stars held their breath, awaiting the next great revelation. Seraphiel felt the weight of his mission press upon his wings, and with a heart heavy yet resolute, he descended toward the garden where the child of dust roamed, a living testament to the Creator's quiescent intention. The lush greenery welcomed the seraph, its vibrant colors a stark contrast to the monochrome shades that now enveloped the hearts of those who lingered with Beelzebub. As Seraphiel settled upon a hill, he surveyed the land below, taking in the innocent being that played and danced in the light of the day, oblivious to the forces at play above. There was a profound beauty in its laughter. The unrefined joy spoke of a purity untouched by the sins of pride or ambition. Child, Seraphiel whispered, his voice barely reaching the ear of the small being, do you know the wonders that dwell within you? You are the bloom of creation, a spark ignited from the heavens to breathe life into the very dust of the earth. The being paused, turning its gaze toward the sky, searching for the source of the voice that seemed to weave through the gentle breezes. A small smile crested its lips as it took in the boundless wonder above. Yet, despite its joy, a lingering emptiness tugged at the edges of its spirit, a silent yearning for something greater. Understanding this yearning fueled Seraphiel's resolve. This cannot be simply a matter of guiding the innocent, he thought. In facing these new adversities, I must articulate a message that goes beyond mere existence. It is a calling that encompasses love, choice, and the very essence of creation itself. Meanwhile, back in the shadows, Beelzebub strategized with fervent zeal, seeking to solidify his ranks among the discontented. He gathered them in a hidden glen, where shadows conspired with whispered promises. Look upon that naive being and ask yourselves, he beckoned, what is more potent than raw power? To rule is to create, and yet here we gather as mere watchers of a world we could command. The true sin is to remain bound by chains of faith that deny us our rightful sovereignty. As his followers listened, their wings unfurled with a newfound energy. Doubt twisted in their hearts, and one among them, one celestial warrior, spoke up, what if the light we served is simply a facade? A distraction from our true calling? The murmur of agreement spread like wildfire, igniting the temperature of their rebellion. In the distance, Seraphiel sensed the unrest stirring among his kin. It sparked an urgency within. He needed to reach not only the new being but also those who had begun to question their allegiance. How can I guide them? He pondered, hopeful yet troubled. The challenge was no longer merely external but a profound internal struggle among his own kin. As he stood watch, a flicker of light permeated the shadows, revealing the flickering hope that resided even in despair. Seraphiel drew closer to the new being once more, and as if sensing the celestial being near, it turned to him, its eyes glistening with wonder. "Who are you?" it asked, the curiosity igniting a spark of recognition within Seraphiel and rendering the angels around him momentarily speechless. "That I am a servant of the Most High, here to help you discover who you may become," he replied, wrapping his words in warmth and gentle encouragement. "You are not alone, and you hold a power within you that is meant to bloom beautifully in this world." The child's face lit up, momentarily illuminating the shadows lurking near, a beacon that beckoned both light and darkness alike. But as the moment hung there, suspended between possibility and longing, Seraphiel sensed the turmoil, longed to break free from its restraints. What would happen when the child approached the shadows, unafraid and radiant in its innocence? Would they retreat in fear, or would the intentions of the fallen be further ignited in their ambition? As the celestial tapestry entwined with earthly desires, the question arose once again: could the purity of this new life be enough to guide even the most wayward soul back to grace, or was it destined to become the nexus of a greater schism, forever altering the bonds of creation? As the child's laughter reverberated through the verdant expanse, a ripple of uncertainty coursed through the gathering of fallen angels. Beelzebub, ensconced in the shadows, felt an insatiable gnawing at his heart. The sound was music, sweet yet dissonant, a reminder of what had been lost and an invitation to reclaim dominion. He turned to his brethren, their once gleaming wings now dimmed by doubt and darkness. "Look at this creature," he said, his voice a velvet whisper, smooth yet venomous. "Its beauty and innocence are a weapon, wielded not against us but against the very nature of freedom. It is birthed from the dust, yet it rises with divine purpose. You must recognize the truth. Creation is not solely a reflection of goodness. Within those who dream of power lies the path to greatness." One of the celestial warriors stepped forward, his brow furrowing in contemplation. "But we were made for light, were we not? To serve and to protect." He hesitated, as if the very remembrance of their sacred vows injected fear into his core. But what is protection if it binds you? Do you not see? Every moment spent within the chains of servitude is a moment of liberty lost. We possess a strength that this child cannot even understand. Beelzebub raised his arms, invoking visions of grandeur, kingdoms that could be forged from their fallen wills. "Join me in this embrace of power. Let us not shackle ourselves in worship of a fading light, but instead wield the very essence of our desires. The heavens have cast us away, let us carve our own path." Seraphiel, hovering between the child and the shadows, sensed the shift that stirred among the fallen. With urgency growing within him, he turned to the innocent one beside him. "Do you feel the weight of their presence? Though they appear shrouded in darkness, there is a flicker of light still within them. It is our duty to guide them back, to awaken their hearts to the possibility of love and redemption." The child's eyes widened, full of innocence touched by wonder. "But how can we reach them if they are so far away?" His voice was unyielding, yet soft, filled with a yearning to understand. "Through love and courage," Seraphiel replied, his wings shimmering in the golden light of day. "By showing them that power does not always need to be at odds with compassion. There is the chance that within their rebellion, a longing for belonging simmers. It is not the destruction that they seek, but rather the truth of their own worth." As the shadows swayed, hums of conflict arose among the fallen. Doubt, once whispered by Beelzebub, now wrestled with inklings of regret. "Perhaps we have strayed too far," one murmured, gazing toward the radiant child. "What if this life is not our true enemy but our unmet desires?" "Enough!" Beelzebub bellowed, thunder crackling within his voice. "Do not falter now. Remember your pain, remember why we have turned against the light. It is not this child we should fear, but the powerlessness it embodies, the innocence that could one day judge us. Seraphiel listened intently, recognizing the delicate interplay of hope and despair, light and shadow. The duality of existence unfolded before him like a tapestry woven of both suffering and grace. Would the child's purity sway the fallen towards redemption, or could its very existence drive them deeper into the abyss? As darkness tightened its grip, Seraphiel felt the boundaries of fate shifting, the destiny of the child intertwined with that of the fallen, threads of possibility wavering against the impending clash. He took a breath, drawing from the depths of his spirit. "Will you step forward and speak a word of kindness to them?" he asked the child. "In doing so, we may yet bridge the chasm that divides us." Emerging from the shadows, the child stepped closer, heart aflame with resolve. It raised its small hand towards the fallen. "If you wish to be free, you can choose to follow the light," it proclaimed, each syllable echoing with an innocence that pierced the very fabric of despair. Yet as those words fluttered in the air, a tremor raced through Beelzebub and the fallen hosts. Vulnerability attempted to breach their hardened hearts, but would it be enough to dismantle the fortress of pride they had built? Would they be willing to renounce their ambitions, or stand firm in rebellion, emboldened by defense rather than understanding? In that moment, as the child's voice cascaded over the assembled crowd, an unfathomable question loomed thickly between them: how far could one heart stretch to embrace the light amidst a sea of shadows before it too would break? As the echoes of the child's voice lingered in the glade, the energy shifted palpably. Beelzebub clenched his fists, rage simmering just beneath the surface. The fallen angels, once exuding an insurmountable power, hesitated at the doorway to their own darkness. It was almost as if time itself slowed, allowing reflection to weave through their minds like a gentle breeze, stirring memories long dormant. Amid this tumult, Seraphiel kept his gaze fixed upon the child, whose small heart beat with an unwavering cadence of hope. "You war against what you once were," he declared to Beelzebub, his voice steady yet filled with a mournful resonance. "In this child's laughter resides the echo of all creation, the pure love and innocence that you once knew. Will you allow your past to devour your future?" Beelzebub sneered, and the shadows around him darkened, twisting with his ire. "Past? It is the very essence of becoming," he snarled. "Why should I dwell in the fleeting light of nostalgia when I can forge a new empire? We are gods, not servants. To be forgotten is to be powerless. Is it truly power that you seek?" Seraphiel countered, a hint of sorrow in his gaze. "Or is it only a mask to hide your pain? The divine purpose we were given can still be within reach if you seek it. This, ripples of uncertainty began to fracture Beelzebub's facade. Amidst his anger, he flickered with uncertainty as memories of celestial splendor flared in his heart. Yet, he dared not linger there, for the ambitions he had borne into rebellion were now his chains. From behind him, one of the fallen angels spoke softly: "To be free includes facing the truth of our existential understanding beyond power. Is there redemption for those of us who chose this path?" Those words hung in the air, a fragile thread woven with desperation and longing. The falling dusk shrouded them in shadow, yet above, the light of the setting sun cast golden rays that danced upon the child's head like a halo. "We are here, brothers," another articulated, apprehensively stepping toward the light. "In joining our darkened hearts, we have birthed our own shackles. Perhaps we cannot forge new empires upon the ruins of our souls. Could this child be the spark we need to reawaken our true selves?" But Beelzebub's voice cut through the budding solidarity with venomous conviction. "Dare not fall under the thrall of nostalgia. The love of the light will only chain you. It will not set you free." As the shadows stirred restlessly, Seraphiel perceived a flicker of both doubt and courage among the fallen. He turned to the child, sensing the weight of the momentous choice that hung in uncertainty like a soft mist waiting to be pierced. "What would you offer them?" he asked gently, with solemn determination. The child stepped forward once more. "I offer what I wish for myself, the chance to choose, to exist beyond fear and terror, and find joy in mercy and kinship." The air shimmered as if the words were more than mere sound, they were a living breath imbued every chilled heart with warmth, awakening something profound. As the child spoke, shadows twisted and flickered, playing against the brightness that permeated the glade. Seraphiel watched closely, hoping against hope that perhaps the power of love could indeed bridge the chasm created by despair. Yet Beelzebub rallied, drawing upon the remnants of his loyalty to the darkness. Do not be deceived. This is but a ruse. These truths they speak of are illusions, masks worn to keep us complacent. Stand firm and fight against the encroaching light. Such words ignited a conflict in the hearts of the remaining fallen angels. Flashes of their former glory danced before their minds' eyes, taunting them with what could be yet challenging the path they've chosen. Each angel stood at the precipice of a decision, caught between the desire for power and the yearning for reconciliation. In this fragile moment, a deep question loomed before them all: would they yield to the echo of innocence and love, or cling to their unyielding ambition, determined to forge a destiny only rooted in shadows? As the child's voice hung in the air, a tangible silence enveloped the glade, wrapping around the fallen angels like a shroud. Seraphiel stood resolute, his heart burdened with the weight of their choices. The shadows flickered, barely restrained by the flickering light, as they teetered on the edge of revelation and despair. Look upon this child, Seraphiel implored, his gaze piercing through the darkness. Witness the spirit of hope untainted by bitterness, a heart yearning for harmony. Remember who you were, before your hearts were ensnared by pride and wrath, before you traded your celestial grace for the allure of dominion. In this moment of introspection, the memories of their former existence surged within them, moments of laughter like rippling streams, echoes of harmonious songs that pierced the fabric of creation. But with each joyous recollection came the haunting knowledge of their transformed nature, twisted and marred by sin. Beelzebub could feel the inner conflict among his brethren, their thoughts spiraling in chaos. Do not allow the innocents to ensnare you, he barked, desperation and fury intertwined in his voice. This is but a trick. The desire for forgiveness is a shackle more potent than the chains of our transgressions. We were crafted to rise above. Only through strength can one achieve true mastery. Yet, as he spoke, subtle fissures in his own resolve began to show, the tremor in his voice, the flickering of shadows that seemed to retreat from him. The other fallen angels, once groupings of fierce loyalty and pride, began to edge toward one another. Their gaze fell to the child, who now stood unwaveringly, a beacon amidst their turmoil. A soft yet steady voice arose from the ranks of the fallen. What have we truly gained from our pride and power? Cast down from the heights of heaven, we scorn wisdom and deny our own hearts. What remains of us but echoes of sorrow? Perhaps it is time we consider a path forged in humility rather than arrogance, a journey not into darkness, but toward the light. A wave of quiet acceptance washed over the glade as many of the angels began to ponder these words. They turned their eyes upward, where the last rays of the sun illuminated glistening dewdrops on the grass, each droplet glimmering like a soul reawakening. In that fleeting moment, they grasped the divine beauty in the universe, a beauty their hearts had closed off from when they chose the shadows. Seraphiel sensed a shift, perhaps they were beginning to remember the formless love that existed before their fall. Look deeper, he urged, his voice soothing yet firm. The truth lies not in power but in unity, in the bond we share with creation itself and with one another. Are you not troubled by the memory of the essence you tread upon? Forgiveness can lead you back home, not to be conquered, but to be free. Beelzebub's fists tightened, the shadows around him swirling with turmoil. You speak of home, yet home is but a specter of longing for souls too accustomed to pain. What have we to gain from false reconciliation? The depths of despair I have known I shall not trust easily, and in the stillness, the child offered a gentle smile, casting warmth like the dawn. To heal is to draw upon love. All you have to do is reach for it. True strength is not found in dominating others but in understanding one's own fragility. Dare you to walk this path of courage? A profound choice lay before them, trembling with the uncertainty of what might come. The lingering winds whispered tales of redemption, yet the shadows murmured doubts that echoed through the hearts of the fallen angels. They were torn by the weight of their legacy, haunted by a desire for power but equally drawn to the flickering hope of unity. As they hesitated, a question emerged, teasing at the edges of their consciousness: could power truly be forsaken for love, where the heart, once scarred, might yet be healed? Or would the chains of ambition continue to bind their souls in darkness? In the quest for redemption, could their next step bring the light that would eclipse the shadows of their past? As the echoes of uncertainty reverberated through the glade, a silence pregnant with unspoken fears enveloped the fallen angels. The child stood undeterred, embodying the promise of a new dawn, yet shadows stirred within the hearts of those watching. Every heart carries a burden, Seraphiel began, his voice trembling with poignant earnestness. Pride, envy, wrath, sloth, greed, gluttony, and lust, these are the sins that weigh upon our wings, weighing so heavily that they render us earthbound. He paused, searching each fallen angel's gaze, hoping to find a flicker of understanding in their eyes. But these burdens need not define us. They can become the soil from which we grow into something new. Is there not honor in our fury? Countered Asmodeus, whose dark form flickered with a tempest of passion. We were gods among men. Our power was to be revered, not scorned. To suppress our spirit is to invite weakness, to diminish our potential. Would you have us grovel in humility like mere mortals? The greatest strength, Seraphiel responded gently, lies not in domination but in compassion. Mortals carry their burdens with grace, and in their struggles, they teach us about resilience and love. Can you not see? We are not so different, our fates are intertwined with theirs. Their pain flows into our hearts, and their love can guide us back to grace. Beelzebub scoffed, crossing his arms defiantly as his shadows writhed around him. What does it matter to us if we are bound to them? Their light is fleeting, and so is their life. You speak of love, yet is it not love that led us astray? To care is to expose ourselves to suffering, as suffering no one can shield us from. The child stepped forward, unafraid and resolute. To love is not to suffer, but to grow. It is an act of bravery to open your heart, despite the wounds that run deep. Their words were imbued with an innocence that cut through the layers of bitterness. True freedom lies in the acceptance of one's flaws. Only then can the soul be reborn. The fallen angels exchanged looks of confusion and curiosity, their predilection for pride now teetering on the brink of contemplation. What if, whispered one among them, we unearth the sins within us, confront them not as enemies but as allies in our journey? What if we could find strength in vulnerability, rather than shame? Seraphiel's heart soared at this, not a flicker of hope igniting in the depths of despair. Yes. Let us be fearless in our exploration of the self. In confronting our sins, we reclaim our story. The courage to face our shadows is the first step toward healing. Yet amidst this conversation of hope, Beelzebub remained unconvinced, choosing instead to clutch his resentment as a shield. Do you truly believe the essence of our former grace can ever be restored? With every moment we deliberate, we sink deeper into the abyss we crafted for ourselves. What is there to salvage in such a fractured existence? The child's response came softly, like the whisper of a breeze. Every created being has within it the seed of redemption. The very act of questioning can lead to awakening. Do you dare to find the answer? An anticipation hung heavily in the air, a pulse echoing through the glade as the fallen angels faced a pivotal choice. The question lingered unspoken: was it folly to seek a path of repentance, or could the very sins that were once their downfall unveil a new ascent toward heavenly grace? Would they grapple with the layers of their fragmented souls to find the light buried within, or would they remain steadfast in their chains, forever lost to the shadows? In the stillness that followed the child's words, a tension coiled among the fallen. Each angel, cloaked in the weight of their history, faced a mirror of their own making, one where sin and shame interwove with the yearning for redemption. It was a strange elixir that ignited the most primal of fears and yet stirred an ember of hope. Seraphiel stepped forward, his wings rustling softly like the leaves of a mighty oak in the whispering wind. Let us recount our tales, he urged, not as mere confessions but as revelations. Only in our stories will we illuminate the darkness that holds us captive. Asmodeus, whose fire smoldered beneath a surface of disdain, was the first to break the silence. I was once revered for my knowledge, yet I fell into a thirst for superiority that blinded me to the value of others. My wisdom became my blight, twisted into a crown of thorns. Is it wrong to seek ascendance? Was it not my place to rise above? Seek not ascendance above, but understanding within, Seraphiel counseled. Your intellect, when anchored in humility, has the power to bridge realms, not divide them. What you saw as strength morphed into arrogance, and therein lay your downfall. Next, Beelzebub, his facade of scorn cracking at the edges, barely whispered, in my hunger for control, I reveled in chaos, believing myself to be a master of fate. Yet, all I wrought was suffering, a gluttony of despair. Could I have instead embraced the vulnerability of partnership, of trust? The child watched, seeing glimmers of awakening in the faces once shrouded by darkness. To recognize your failings is the first step toward compassion, they encouraged. What if your dark hunger could guide you toward nurturing instead? A restoration of order through service instead of dominion. The glade vibrated with the energy of rebirth as the fallen angels listened, their hearts racing with the revelation that perhaps they, too, were creatures of boundless potential, sculpted not merely by their sins but also by the lessons those very sins bore. Then, it was Lilith's turn, the one among them who had shed her wings out of defiance. My love was once an insatiable hunger, grasping and clawing for a place in a world that sought to shun me. I fell, blighted by the lust for validation, and through my fury, I lost my connection to both heavens and men. Am I forever consigned to bear that weight, the stain of my desire stripping me of dignity? Seraphiel knelt before Lilith, his gaze tender and full of understanding. Desire is not the enemy, but when wielded without care, it becomes a weapon. In your quest for belonging, you lost sight of yourself. Dare to transform that yearning into a passion for creation and connection. Allow desire to guide you toward love, not possession, but shadows still loomed over them, and Beelzebub's voice sliced through the air with biting skepticism. And what of the wrath that rumbles like thunder within me? It rages, unabated. Can one truly transform such ferocity into benevolence without being cast adrift into helplessness? Wrath is a flame, the child replied, gentle yet firm. It can consume or inspire. Choose to let it awaken your sense of justice, a fight for the weak and the broken. By transforming anger into a force for good, you can echo the very love you believe has abandoned you. Suddenly, out of the shadows, whispers filled the air, echoes of despair and longing. They were the remnants of each angel's fractured spirit, urging them toward reckoning. A chorus of ancient voices asked, do you dare confront the reality of who you are? Can you reconcile the past with the possibility of a new light? The glade thrummed with the weight of their contemplation, and that question hung over them like the morning fog, cloaking their hearts in uncertainty. As they wrestled with their truths, an even deeper mystery unfolded. Could the very fabric of their fallen state woven with the threads of suffering and sin be the catalyst for their ultimate redemption, or would they remain forever entrapped in the shadows they had cast? In that reflective silence, a persistent question loomed larger than all their confessions. What if embracing their brokenness became the key to binding their wings anew, and in that binding, they could finally grasp the flight they had thought forever lost? As the celestial twilight blanketed the scene, the stillness was pregnant with anticipation, a moment of reckoning pushing against the very fabric of existence. The fallen angels stood at the crossroads of change, torn between the shadows of their past and the flicker of hope growing within. Seraphiel sensed the stirring of realization among them, each heart inching toward awakening. We all walked this path of pride and ambition, he urged, his voice warm with compassion. But now, we stand upon the precipice of transformation. To embrace love is to embrace your very essence. In our vulnerability lies the strength to reclaim our divinity. As the last vestiges of sunlight yielded to the embrace of night, the child remained radiantly illuminated, unaware of the tempest within the hearts of those watching. Choose to love, it implored once more, innocence echoing through the depths of their turmoil. Let the burdens you carry compel you toward compassion. We are not defined by our failures, but by our willingness to grow. A hush fell over the assembly as each fallen angel contemplated the weight of their sins, weaving a tapestry of pain and regret. What if we made the conscious choice to rise from the ashes of our brokenness? Whispered one, a shimmer of light returning to its eyes. What if we embraced the very essence of love that once guided our creations? Just then, a glint caught Beelzebub's gaze, an unexpected flicker of doubt, raw and honest, shimmering through his resolute facade. To ignite love amidst the chaos, could it soothe the tempest within? Could I reshape my wrath into a guiding star? He spoke, now more reflectively than defiantly. The shadows swayed at his feet, strangely subdued by the burgeoning light of hope. What if we recommitted ourselves to one another? A once loyal warrior mused aloud, stepping forward, wings brushing against those of his brothers, reminding them of the strength found in unity. Suddenly, the unseen depths of anguish engulfed the angels, swirling like a storm around a flickering flame, while whispers of doubt positioned themselves as barriers. Our sins hold us captive, but could they also weave the path to liberation? Echoed another, as realization began blossoming in the fertile ground of their hearts. Seraphiel, witnessing the shift, became emboldened. We stand teetering on the brink. With every sin, we possess the power to nurture the seed of rebirth. It is in our acceptance of imperfection that we cultivate the soil for love to flourish. Then, the child, emboldened by their words, stepped toward Beelzebub, extending a hand as a gesture of peace. I see the darkness within you, but I also see the light longing to break free. Join us in this journey where forgiveness is the path to reunion. The air buzzed with hope and trepidation, for this moment held the weight of the past but teetered on the precipice of a new beginning. Could the embers of love truly extinguish the shadows birthed from their shame? Join us. Seraphiel called, igniting a resonance that surged among the fallen. For love cannot rise without addressing our sins, and in every act of empathy, we can transform the pain of our past into a beacon of future grace. Look to one another, not as rivals bound by ambition, but as brothers and sisters yearning for the same illumination. Another angel added, the trembling strength of his voice pooling into harmony. As if driven by a divine magnet, the fallen began to move, step by cautious step, toward the light. The whispers of the shadows grew quieter as the radiant aura of love encircled them, offering warmth against their long-held fears. Yet, in that pivotal moment, an unfurling crescendo filled the space, the glorious sound of hearts yearning loudly for redemption. Beelzebub took a step forward, each timid movement a testament to his internal struggle. Could we all? His voice wavered, bridging the chasm that had kept him locked in darkness. Yes. The child replied with joyous encouragement, you were made to love and to be loved. The power to change is already within you. The overwhelming weight of their sins began to dissipate as they took one collective step toward the flickering light, their wings unfurling cautiously. Each step forward became a soft release of burdens long clutched, shedding layers of bitterness like autumn leaves falling from the trees. Colors ignited around them, a spectacle of radiant hues that pulsed with warmth and hope. Their surrender to vulnerability became a transformative force, cleansing the wounds that had disgraced their wings for far too long. It was then that they heard a melody, pure and harmonious, arising from the depths of their souls, entwining with the laughter of the child, echoing through the past and into an unbounded future. In a rush of light, shadows began to recede, as if the heavens themselves rejoiced at a celestial chorus billowing high above. Each note resonated with the understanding that, while they had once turned away from love, they now turned back toward it, united in a purpose greater than themselves. Beelzebub felt a warmth wrap around his heart, transforming the icy grip of his ambitions into a flame of hope. I choose to embrace love, he declared, voice quivering with sincerity. Upon the ashes of my pride, I shall ascend with my brethren, reclaiming not only our wings but our true essence. And as they soared higher, a vision unfolded before them, an ethereal landscape where shadows danced with light, and healing intertwined with grace. We are no longer bound to the past, Seraphiel beamed, for in our decision to forgive ourselves, we unveil the truth of our divine inception. As dawn broke over the horizon, illuminating the celestial realm, the angels, once fallen, found themselves reborn not merely as guardians of light, but as radiant embodiments of love itself. In accepting their failures, they had discovered not only their connection to the divine but also to one another. The world below blossomed like a garden, vibrantly teeming with life, a testament to the miracle of redemption. The balance between light and dark became a symphony of colors, embracing the richness of existence in all its forms. Together, they soared, intertwining their struggles and triumphs, forever changing the narrative that had once been theirs to bear alone. And that grand celestial choir sung by angels and mortals alike, a profound revelation echoed beyond the realms of heaven and earth that in the acceptance of our darkness, we can find the light, and in the act of loving, we can resurrect our truest selves. Redemption lies not just in overcoming, but in the journey of understanding together, we write our stories anew.